Hi, my name's Jared Zaragoza, and I'm a Diamond Beachbody coach. I'm also a Success Club 5 All Star. I went to Coach Jimmy's call on Saturday, and I just wanted to. Mike asked us to make a video of just some of the highlights of what he said. So I took about 8 pages of notes, but I'm just going to go over a couple of things that stood out to me and things that you guys might not hear as much that I think would help a lot. One of the things he said is he said, on the call, he's like, I'm not babysitting my coaches. He's like, your coaches are grown adults and they could take responsibility. He's like, he was kind of seemed a little bit disappointed because he had 2,200 coaches register for the call and it's for the YouTube video, and it seemed about only 800 showed up. He said, make sure you're on the call. Don't worry about your coaches. It's not your job to reach out to them and message them and say, hey, the call starts in 10 minutes. Are you guys going to get on? He's like, they're grown adults, and if they're going to take their business seriously, they're going to be on the call. He said, make sure you're not babysitting your coaches. He said, you need to actually raise the bar, the expectation level, and they need to meet the raised bar. He said, they're gonna meet the bar that you set, the standard that you set, or they're gonna dismiss themselves. Don't worry about the ones that aren't meeting the standards; they'll dismiss themselves. Quit trying to make everybody make it. Work with the strong, work with the willing. He said also, just invest in yourself, and everything else will come. Everything else will follow. He said, it's normal to be where you're at right now. You're Tell this to your new coaches. It's normal to be where they're at right now. They're in the learning phase. And he said the first year of your business is literally the learning phase. He's like, don't expect an overnight success. Don't expect all these things to happen. It's normal to fail and it's normal to struggle your first year. He said one word he doesn't tolerate is the O word, overwhelmed. He said to him, the word overwhelmed is like nails on the chalkboard. He said it's a choice used by people who can't follow the system, people who don't follow the steps. He also said overwhelmed is a crap excuse to unplug. And I agree. I've heard so many new coaches say, oh, I'm overwhelmed. I feel overwhelmed. And I appreciate the ones that stay on board and continue forward, but I've heard so many say I'm overwhelmed and then they unplug and they do go distant for weeks or months or days because they're stressed out. And I agree with Coach Jimmy on that one. I like the tough love mentality that he has. He doesn't put up with crap, and that's why I like him a lot. A couple of stories that he said that stuck out to me is he gave a story about a log cabin. He said, imagine your team page is it's like a log cabin and there's hot chocolate and there's warm cocoa, and you're inviting everybody to come inside and there's a fire and it's nice and cozy. And then you have that one coach, that one friend that's outside in the rain getting rained on. He's like, you might open the door and say, hey, get out of the rain, come inside. It's warm in here. We have hot chocolate. He goes, but if that coach is going to sit outside in the rain and get rained on and cry and throw a fit, he's like, you're not going to go out there and stand in the rain for 3 hours and get rained on to comfort them and coddle them and try to convince them to get back in the cabin. He's like, you're going to stay in the cabin and be like, whatever. If they know where the cabin is, if they want to come back, they will. And the other story he used that I really liked was the football story. He said, as the coach, the leader of your team, you're the quarterback, and your team is the wide receiver. He's like, you get in the huddle, which is your team page. You come up with a game plan, and you say, hey, you're going to go out so many yards, you're going to cut right, and then you're going to go so many yards, and you're going to catch the ball. And you have the game plan, everybody's on board. Everybody's like, okay, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this. He's like, and then when you have the game play, and you're like, go, and you get the ball and you get to throw it to the wide receiver. Now, if he runs 40 yards upfield, instead of going, say, 4 yards up and then cutting right, real sharp, you go to throw the ball, it's too far out. Then you go to throw it to him and he completely misses the ball because it's so far. And if your wide receiver sits out there, 40 yards out, and you're okay, whatever, we're going to work through this. Let's do the next. We're calling a huddle and we're going to do the next plan. And your wide receiver sits out there 40 yards out, starts sitting on the field and crying. You'd be like, I failed. I suck. I suck at football. I'll never be a good football player. I'll never make a point. I'm the worst football player ever. I'm the worst wide receiver ever. He said that's like a coach crying and be like, oh, I'm the worst coach ever. I didn't make Diamond, or I didn't make Emerald, or I got a no. I didn't make Success Club. I'm horrible. I can never do this. And he's like, are you going to run 40 yards up the field to catch that football player, pick him up, throw him on your shoulders, run all the way back 40 yards down to the whole team in the huddle? And are you going to like put the whole team on hold to go save that football player? And he's like, you're not. You're going to say, hey, get back here. And if he sits there 40 yards out and just sits on the field, starts crying, you're like, whatever. And you have to play on. You don't have time to waste on people that are just going to sit there and feel sorry for themselves. He said, friends and family, it's normal. Okay, so he's hit the millionaire club, and he said at his level, friends and family won't jump on board more than likely. And he said, don't get over it. You know, he's like, if people are ridiculing you, and if they're making fun of you, you're doing something right. He's like, expect to lose friends doing this. The friends you're losing are like weeds. You don't want them anyway. They weren't going to buy from you. They weren't going to coach from you. So just get over that. Just expect to lose friends. Expect people to bail on you. It's just going to happen. He said at the $1 million income part where he's at right now, he only has one family member that has stuck it out the whole time. And that one family member is a cousin that actually works a business. Other than that, he has a few that drink Shakeology for the discount, but that's it. He said, a lot of your big builders are going to be people you don't even know. They might be a referral from somebody else. And just a couple more things to go over and I'm done. He said, make sure you get to events no matter what. If you haven't registered for Summit, go to coachsummit.com and register. Super Saturdays are no matter what. Make sure you get there. He said, if you have kind of a so-so Super Saturday locally that's not the best, and if you're 2 to 3 hours or so away from a better Super Saturday, he encourages you to make the couple-hour drive, make the effort, and go to that really big deal Super Saturday with maybe a big name, because you'll see a lot more in it versus sticking to the local ones that don't have a lot going on. And it'll just help overall with confidence, and I think you'll just get a lot more support and a better experience out of it. He said, mark your calendars. Make sure you're going to go to these events. And he said, if you put that you're going to go to Summit no matter what, and if you can't afford it, you don't think you can afford it, you don't think you could get there, he's like, the laws of attraction and everything will manifest itself and everything will work. And he's like, things will come together and you'll find a way to get there. And I just want to tell everybody from my own personal experience, last year in July was not the best financial time for us at all. And honestly, Summit-wise was not good financially, for us at all. And we drove 24 hours from Harriman, Utah over to Nashville with a wife and 2 kids under the age of 10. And we were tight on gas and everything, but we did it. And we stayed in like the worst hotels, like the Motel 6 Days Inn, the sucky ones. It wasn't like an awesome hotel experience. And it's also our 11-year wedding anniversary, opening night on Thursday. But we did it because we believe in, we believe in everything and we know it's going to work. So we drove 24 hours, went there, and I ran back and forth on my anniversary day and even missed the team dinner, with Mike and all the coaches because, I put family first and I wanted to, spend a little bit of time with my kids, my wife for our anniversary, which I did. And so I cut out a couple hours early and, just made it work. And I kind of made everything work that way. Anyway, and then we drove another 24 hours back. We stayed in more crappy hotels. And I'm just going to say, for everybody that says they can't make it financially, it's not a good time, the people that blew off Summit last year or this year in 2015, you'll notice a big change. You'll see the people that actually showed up to Summit. They're moving their businesses forward. The people that skipped it and bailed on it, not so much. And I do agree there's a couple circumstances that are totally acceptable. Like if you're having a baby, you have a medical problem, like someone died, your doctor's like, you're not traveling, your baby's in a few weeks. And you guys know who I'm talking about. You guys, this isn't you. This is a people that have nothing going on, no one's dying, no baby's being born, nothing's going on. You're totally healthy and capable to go, but you're like, oh, I can't afford it or whatever. So make sure you get to events no matter what. And let's double check my notes. Okay, and the very, very last thing is, he said this as he ended his call. He said, don't check out the business. This is more for the new coaches. Don't say, well, I'll check it out or I'll try or I'll give my best shot. He's like, if you're going to check this business out, it's going to check you out. So That's everything, and sorry for the long video, but I just had a lot to say, so I hope that helps.